My name is K-Swap, this is my twin turbo pickup, and today we're actually gonna wrench on and hopefully get a little bit closer to starting it for the first time. This is currently what we're working with. This is a 5.3 that I built a video back, so if you wanna check that out, check it out. We threw a twin turbo kit on here from Speed Engineering, and we're slowly approaching the moment where we're getting close to starting this for the first time. It still needs a lot, but we're getting closer, and on this video we're gonna do a lot of random parts that gets us a little bit closer to starting it for the first time.
Artless.io.
Well, I guess I'm straight out of luck because my timing chain cover bung, this one right here, is actually hitting the AC bracket, so it looks like I can't even run the AC compressor anymore. Well, guess we won't have AC. This sucks. Dang it, man. This really sucks. Can't run AC anymore. Dude, I wish they would have told me this before I installed this. Like, dang. Well, there we go. At least now you guys can learn from my mistakes. If you guys get the timing chain cover with the 2 bungs for the oil returns, you can't run the AC. I wish I would have known. I would have never installed it, but now we know. I'm not gonna even lie, I'm a little upset. I wanted AC out of anything. I wanted AC, but since we can't really run the compressor or the bracket or the lines, we're gonna move on to the next thing, which is just throwing my engine harness on. This is actually a Holley Terminator harness with the Holley Terminator kit. So I have the whole kit here. This is a trans wiring. This is the main wiring. We have the Terminator here, O2, couple, the screen, and another piece of wiring. So we're just gonna start throwing this thing on. We're gonna start with the main one. What I really love about this one is the fact that everything's labeled. So this one says injectors, knock, connect to cylinder head only, oil pressure, so you can kind of figure it out. That's the awesome part. This should be plug and play. Let's throw it on. This is where we're kind of going to stop at. I did get the oil pressure sensor. I did get the cam sensor in the back. I got the coolant temperature sensor. I got the TPS. As far as coils, we're gonna have to reroute them, so I didn't connect them. As far as the injectors, I still don't have them. And anything behind the engine, the transmission is still not on, so we really can't control. We can't connect anything else, so we're just gonna let the harness just hang out here for a while, and we're gonna move on to the next thing. So my mission is just to get a lot of things done little by little. So let's move on to the next one. Let's throw my water pump shield on. This is going to protect the water pump and keep it cool from the heat of the turbos. Well, let's toss it in. So I did have to remove a couple things prior to installing this because this was supposed to be installed first and then this, and I made a mess. But regardless, now let's just like that. Everything is now back together. That was such a pain, but I'm happy I did that. Just reminder to myself, next time I do this, heat shield goes first and then the actual exhaust and the turbo and everything. So the heat shield had to be installed first, so I had to remove everything. But now that everything's back together, I'm very happy I did that because now we have a heat shield for the water pump as well as for the accessory belt. So I guess it was worth it. Now it's time to actually install this 90-degree adapter, because this 90-degree adapter is going to allow us to run the upper coolant hose, because if I don't use this, then the coolant hose is actually going to touch the turbo. It is very weird and it doesn't make sense until I kind of show you. But if I grab my coolant hose, which I think disappeared, here it is. If I grab the coolant hose and I try to connect it, you will notice that there's absolutely no way to run this because it's gonna hit the top of the turbo, it's gonna burn off, and it's gonna cause massive coolant leaks. So what Speed Engineering ended up doing is they ended up sending this 90-degree adapter that you can put on the radiator, like so. It's gonna move the actual point of the radiator somewhere else on top of the turbo, which is going to let you run the upper coolant hose. That's just as simple as it is. It comes with a little hose, clamps, and this 90. It goes on top of the radiator like so, and it kind of just pivots everything away from the turbo. Very weird, very odd, but I guess it works. Let's install it.
Here we go.
This thing looks like Squidward's freaking nose, but As you can see, it kind of keeps everything off the turbo. And now we can connect the hose here and run it to the water pump. So super simple, it works. It doesn't look the best, but it works. So now we're just gonna leave it like that because I did order a brand new hose. We're not gonna run the old one. So let's keep moving. Now we're gonna be installing the coolest part with this build. The only thing that sucks about installing this is the fact that I have to remove the intake, but this essentially is called a stem kit, and it's for high horsepower V8s, high horsepower LSs, and essentially they're made to just cool the engine down. We're gonna throw it on. We have to remove the intake, but it's going to look so rad. When it comes to the LS engine, we actually have 4 steam ports that release coolant, steam, hot gases. One is right here in front of the engine. We have another one over here on the side. They're in every corner of the engine. And essentially, when you're making a lot of power, these heads, the corners of these heads start overheating, causing a lot of issues down the line, and it causes you to also lose power. So they make specific kits that cool down the corners of your heads by installing this stem kit, which releases it back into the radiator, releases all that steam and coolant and high gases back to the radiator instead of just holding them on the heads, which is very, very weird. It's not a problem if you have a normal stock LS, but it's a big problem when you have a high horsepower LS. And with these 2 turbos making a ton of extra heat, I just want this thing to be very cool, very efficient. So we're gonna install the steam kit. Specific kit was actually from Motion Raceworks, and everything is labeled, which is super cool. It tells you where everything goes. So now let's throw it on. Step 1, so this is the first thing you're going to do in order to install this steam kit, is you're gonna find the little adapters for the actual block, the bolts, and you're gonna get the gaskets that are provided with the kit, and these are actually going to bolt on to the head. So we have 4 ports. We have 2 in the back, 1 here, and on the front. So I installed the fronts already, so all we have to do is throw the rears on, which are super easy. You can thread them by hand just to start it. And now the next one, same thing. You're just gonna thread them in place. According to the instructions, you just have to hand tie them, so don't go crazy. Just make them snug. Like so. That's it. Steam ports are now connected, so now we can move on to step 2. Next step is actually installing these 90-degree bends or adapters onto the port adapters. As you can see, I already threw the front ones, so these actually thread on top of the port adapters that we just added, and these are going to connect all the lines together. But the only thing you really need to do here is you need to put some sealer on these, because you definitely don't want these to leak. You don't have to add them on both sides, but you do need to add them on the bottom parts connected to the adapter. So now let's put some sealant and let's throw them on. As for me, I like to run liquid sealer, so this is what I like to use. I've never had an issue with oil leaks or coolant leaks or nothing like that. And the awesome part with this is literally like that. You just squeeze them on, squeeze it on there, and the sealer will come out instead of trying to use Teflon like that. That's all you have to do for these. So I'm running a little bit low, but I have enough for these fittings. That's it. And at this point, all you have to do is literally thread these on. Super simple. And final step is just simply lay the whole kit out just like I did, and simply screw everything together. So the rest of it doesn't need Teflon. You can just screw it on together, and it shouldn't have any more leaks. As you can see, I kind of set mine together where it connects all the heads to one single block, and all the coolant and steam and hot air is going to go through this nozzle right here. I'm gonna drill a port here in the water pump, so it's gonna release it back to the coolant system, and this thing is going to be more efficient, more effective, and it's not gonna be prone to overheating. So now let's screw everything together and we're done. And last thing I need to do is simply go back and tie in all the fittings with my Allen wrench or my fitting wrench. But that's what we're gonna do with all the fittings. I'm gonna go around and tie in every single one of them. I'm not even gonna lie, this was well worth the time. This thing is, dude, it is getting so close. And on top of that, I'm gonna be honest, I think I overbuilt the truck for sure. Like, this thing is way overbuilt, especially for the power, my power goal. Like, my power goal is 500 horsepower. At this rate, this is reliably gonna handle 500 horsepower all day long and more. Like, dude, this is becoming more, in my opinion, more of a show truck and it's gonna be a shame because I'm not gonna want to drive it. But enough talking. Let me show you what the truck looks like. Damn, dude, look at this. Holy snap, your boy might be building a show truck. Yes, it's far from it, I'm gonna be honest, but for me, this is definitely the cleanest engine setup I've ever had, by far. Like, this is by far the cleanest thing I've ever built. The outside is gonna get painted soon, and once this thing is running, we're gonna also put a front mount. Bro, like, you cannot tell me this steam kit doesn't look so good. Now, when it comes to this engine, all the hot steam and coolant and air on the corner of that head is gonna come to this middle block. Same thing for that one, middle block. Same thing for these two, middle block. And it's all gonna come through this one right here. The only other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually drill and tap my water pump here on the very top and run a tiny little hose, and we're done. So all that hot air and coolant and steam from the four corners of the head is gonna go directly back into the water pump that is gonna circulate into the radiator, cool it down, and then back into the engine. So this thing is going to be ice cold. Like I said again, the only complaint I'm having at this time is I feel like I'm not gonna wanna drive the truck because it's becoming way too clean. And yeah, I'm going above and beyond on this build and I'm very happy, but dude, it's gonna hurt me to drive this thing. But for now, we're a tad bit closer to starting this up for the first time. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. It was just very random, but I kind of wanted to wrench on the truck. And if you want to get a steam kit as well, super easy to install, looks freaking sick. Highly recommend it. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, share it, comment, tell me what I should do next. Yeah, dude, I'm in love. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.